very beginning of reviewing League of Legends Champions, the amount of people have said you have to listen to Aphelios' login theme. It's one of the best, if not the best. They ain't lying. They ain't lying. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So Aphelios, finally, Aphelios is the League of Legends champion I'm going to be covering today. I have covered how many? 50 at least, maybe more champions in League of Legends, and from the very beginning, the amount of people that have said you have to cover Aphelios, and we are finally here. So what am I going to do? I'm going to do what I always do, which is go through every available piece of content for Aphelios. So I'll go through his bio, I'll go through his story, I'll go through and review his skins, I'll go through any login screens or themes, I'll go through any special interactions, and I think I'm going to buy the player on League of Legends and play him for the first time as well. So that should be that should be pretty interesting. Anyways, let's kick things off with the bio. Let's go. So this is the bio, the weapon of the faithful. In fact, before we even start with the bio, this is a good start. Look how good. I assume this is his base skin. Look how good this looks. Woo! Okay, nice. So, the moon looms over the time slope of Mount Targon. Ah, okay. Distant yet impossibly close. Born during a rare lunar convergence, when the physical moon was eclipsed by its reflection in the spirit realm, Aphelios and his twin sister Alun were celebrated as children of destiny by those of Targon's Lunare faith. Okay. Mirroring the celestial events that heralded their birth, the two children knew they had been marked by fate. Aphelios physically gifted like the moon of stone, and Alun magically like the spiritual reflection. Zealously devout, they grew up within a faith of mystery, reflection and discovery, and embraced darkness not just out of belief, but as the only thing that could keep them safe. The Solari who ruled Targon considered the Lunare heretics. Okay. Right. Driving them into hiding until most forgot the Lunare ever existed. The Lunare were left to the shadows, dwelling in temples and caves far from the Solaris sight. The pressure to be exemplary weighed heavily upon Aphelios. He practiced tirelessly with mystical moonstone blades, spilling his own blood in training so he could spill that of others to protect the faith. Intense and vulnerable, he bonded deeply with his sister in lieu of any other friendships. Right. While Aphelios was sent on increasingly dangerous missions to protect the Lunare, Alun trained separately as a seer, using her luminous magic to reveal hidden pathways and truths by the moon's light. In time, her task required her to leave the temple where they were raised. Without Alun, Aphelios' faith wavered. Desperate for purpose, he undertook a ceremonial journey into darkness where Lunare were said to discover their paths, their orbits. He followed the moon's light to a pool where a rare noctum flower bloomed beneath the water's surface. Though poisonous, the flowers could be distilled into a liquid that opened him to the night's power. Drinking the noctum's essence, Aphelios felt so much pain that it numbed him to everything else. Soon after, an ancient temple, the Magus, whatever that is, Onagum, began to come into phase from the spirit realm for the first time in centuries. Right, this is mad. This is confusing. Lunare from across the mountain gathered, emerging from hiding to witness the balance of power shift as celestial cycles in the heavens turned. So they turned at the same time as he drank this kind of poisonous tincture that wasn't poisonous, while at the same time being separated from his sister, which meant he lost his faith. The fortress accepted only one occupant, gifted in magic each time it appeared. Okay. This time it would be Alun, her orbit guiding her to the temple. Aphelios, usually asking for nothing, requested to attend the event. Okay, but as the fortress passed through the veil in a luminous display of magic, a harsher radiance filled the night. Somehow the Lunare had been discovered even as the celestial cycles turned in their favour. An army of Solari descended upon them. All seemed lost, Solari purging the Lunare heresy with fire and steel. Even Aphelios was beaten, his moonstone blade shattered on the ground, blood spilling from his lips as he reached for the noctum. But as the battle raged, Alun travelled deeper into the temple, and when she reached its heart, her full potential unlocked. Through the noctum, Aphelios could feel Luna's power embrace him, and he could hear her voice. With a whisper she pushed magic into his hands, a replacement for his blade solidifying into moonstone. Like the moon of stone and its spiritual reflection, Aphelios' skill and Luna's magic converged. Those Solari would not live to see the sun again. As her power flared, Luna pushed the temple and herself within back into the spirit realm where it would remain safe from the Solari. From inside, amplified by the temple's focusing power, Luna was able to project her magic anywhere, so long as it found a focus, like the poison coursing through Aphelios' veins. So that's the connection. Only now did they understand their destiny. Aphelios would hollow himself out with pain, but would become a conduit for the moon's power. Luna would live alone, isolated in her fortress, but she would guide her brother, able to see through his eyes. Okay. Together they would be the weapon that Lunari needed. Bound by pain and sacrifice, only apart could they be together. Their souls brushing across the veil, distant yet impossibly close, converging into something they could not understand. To protect the survivors of the attack who retreated back into the shadows of the mountain, Aphelios' training as an assassin had been given reach by Luna's magic. His blade now an arsenal of mystical power, weapons, perfected by Luna over the course of many missions together. Now that the power balance of Targon is shifting and the Solari know the Lunari still endure, Aphelios and Luna are needed more than ever. Wow, okay, really interesting but kind of confusing bio there. What I do like about it is it shows that they're brother and sister and they both had to sacrifice something for the greater good. So she sacrifices herself, in essence trapped in his fortress of isolation, and he suffers pain almost eternally to hollow himself out to be able then to tap into her powers that she communicates to him. So I like how they both have to sacrifice something for the greater good and become better for it. Interesting. And once again, let's tie that back to this. It kind of ties back to this original image here. You can see her guiding him, giving him power here as well. It looks like the red here that she's... I don't know if that's... yeah, it looks like the red is what she's creating. So she's creating the weapons for him to wield. These guys in the background, I don't know who they are. Maybe they're the buddies. I don't know. But anyway, pretty cool bio, if not a little bit confusing. And this ties in nicely with what I've heard about his kit. His kit, I believe, is extremely confusing as well. So when I go through the spotlight, that should be pretty entertaining to watch as well. Anyways, let's move now on to his skins. Let's go. Okay, so this is his base skin. Emerging from moonlight's shadow with weapons drawn, Aphelios kills the enemies of his faith in brooding silence, speaking only through the certainty of his aim. Wow, and the firing of each gun, though fueled by a poison that renders him mute. Oh, they didn't mention that in the bio. He is guided by his sister Luna in her distant temple sanctuary, from where she pushes an arsenal of moonstone weapons into his hands. For as long as the moon shines overhead, Aphelios will never be alone. Tight. Now that already kind of is better than what I've read in the bio. So the poison made him mute, but even though it made him mute, it made him more in tune with his sister's communication powers. And she's the one that communicates with him. Oh, okay. And once again, you can see the moon in the background there. Yeah, the base skin is possibly one of my favourites, actually. Yeah, it looks really good. So, the next one, Nightbringer. Wow. Separated at primordial birth, Aphelios, a friend of chaos, and Luna and Anchorness of order were created as enemies, yet drawn each night to wander by shared visions of the moon. They found each other. Abandoning their natures, they struggle to show creation that darkness can shine, even as other divinities endlessly war. Okay, once again, the yin and the yang, brother and sister. One is the bringer of the Nightbringer, and one is the bringer of order. Nice skin there as well. Yeah, love it. So, do not tell me this is all he has. He's got two. What? So we've got two in the Legacy Vault. Let's have a look at this one first before I go into a little bit of a rant. So we've got Lunar Beast Aphelios. Aphelios stays quiet, obviously, preferring to worship the bull god according to obscure old ways that are unfamiliar to the rest of his squad. His teammates are welcoming if curious, but have yet to realise that Aphelios and his sister Alun are actually the bull god's prodigy. Place them on the squad to face this year's lunar beast. Okay, cool. You can see his sister in the background there. I like that. I really do like the lunar beast Viego skin. That's tight. That's really good. And this one's pretty decent as well. And then, unfortunately, by the looks of it, this is the final one. EDG, honouring Viper's winning performances of Aphelios during the World's 2021 World Championship. Yeah, I saw Viper. Was it a Pentacle? Was it a Pentacle? Who was it playing? EDG reversing.
With a huge
RNG.
Maybe this is it, but FBX still firing out.
I remember watching a clip of that where he was obviously all out. He basically carried. He went all out with Aphelios. Anyway, let's get back to the skin. In fact, before I get back to the skin, so this is EDG Aphelios. I wonder how much input the player has to the skin. Is it a little bit? Do they just sign it off, or is it a lot? Do they have free range to decide what they want? That would be interesting to know. And is it just him, or is it EDG, the team, that decide the skin? Anyways, we've got Yumi, we've got Viego, we've got Zoe, we have Aphelios there, and we have... Why do I not know who that is? No idea. But anyway, Aphelios, yeah, cool. I do like that one as well. So let me go into a little bit of a rant mode now. How can you have... Rant mode, should I say. How can you have a skin as good as this and then have 3 skins, one of them being just an EG, a team skin? You've basically got 2 additional skins. That's trash. For a champion that looks as good as this, and I believe based on the bio is going to have such an interesting lore, you've got 2 skins. Not good. Not good, League. Not good. Anyways, if I had to give my favourite 3, I'm going to include the base skin in this as well, since we've got hardly any. Number 3 for me would have to be Lunar Beast. Number 2 would have to be Nightbringer. But I'm going to be real with you, my favourite skin is the base skin, if I was throwing that one in the mix. I don't normally do that. But because there's hardly any skins, I've got to throw in the base skin there as well. And this base skin from Aphelios would actually be my favourite, considering everything else that's there as well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move on to his login theme. Let's go.
Awake to my
Oh, we've got some vocals. Hold up.
Awake to my voice and hear the call within. Embrace the fear inside.
Okay. What? Alright, listen. How can you have, 1 minute in, how can you have a login theme as good as this? How can you have a login theme as good as this and have 2 aftermarket skins? Right, okay, forget the skins. I'm still going on, I'm still focusing on skins. This is epic. This is, right, this is too good. Let me turn this up. Let me go back a bit. Let me go back.
You're never alone. Whenever it's gone, let the shadows stay home.
Okay.
You're never alone. Let the poison
good.
Let the shadows take hold. You never
Okay. Right, the production on this is mad. This is a login theme, or champion theme, should I say. The production is crazy. From the very beginning of reviewing League of Legends Champions, the amount of people have said you have to listen to Aphelios' login theme. It's one of the best, if not the best. And I thought, okay, yeah. They ain't lying. They ain't lying. This is easily one of the best login themes I've heard to date. Nice.
Soon you'll be set truly free from all those chains you bear.
Listen to this. Listen, this is... Okay, number one. Okay. This is the best login theme I've heard. I've got things like... I like Pike's login theme. I really did like Jin's 2 login themes. There's a couple of others that slip my memory at the moment that were really, really good. But this one takes it, man. This one is just levels above. Wow. Let me just listen to the first 20 seconds again. Just hear me out.
Awake to my voice and hear the call within. Embrace the fear inside. Surrender your mind to mine again. Close your eyes, have faith in me.
Yeah, it's popping. And even the lyrics tie in so nicely. Like, close your eyes, have faith in me. Remember it mentioned before in the bio that when Aphelios was separated from Malone, he lost faith in the whole situation. Close your eyes, have faith in me because I'm the one that guides you. He mentioned there was a couple of other lyrics as well that tied nicely with the whole situation between the two of them as well. Perfect. It's perfect. This is a 10 out of 10. What a banger. What a track. For me, I was thinking after Arcane, they need to do... after the whole Jinx and Vice situation, they need to move on to someone like Yone. Yone and Yasuo will be perfect. Nope. They have to do Aphelios and the Loon. They have to do this next. It's just perfect. Can you imagine someone on the same scale as Arcane for Aphelios? Mad. Okay, let's hit the drop again.
You're never alone.
You're never alone as well, because even though they're separated, technically they're not separated because the connection with him is so strong. He speaks to her, she gives him the weapons, he obviously enacts their justice. It's perfect. The lyrics tied nicely as well. Boom. So yeah, that's definitely the best login theme I've heard to date. I'm not sure if that can be beaten, but we shall see. Anyways, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move on to I saw at the end he has a champion trailer as well. So let me just quickly go through that. Yeah, the Weapon of the Faithful. How did I miss that? Right, let's move on to that 51 seconds, and then after that we'll move on to his story. Let's go. Let's take off subtitles. Okay.
This will be your voice.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, this is mad. Summon your weapons, Aphelios. The deadliest is your faith. Okay. Okay, let's move on to the story. Let's go. So, this is the story. You are the weapon. Once again, loving that. Shows how they obviously both sacrifice something for the greater good. He started his training with a single breath in and out. He could hear water dripping through a crack in the cave ceiling, dampening the stone floor until it gleamed against the darkness. He knew the holy patterns carved into the floor's stone, proclaiming destinies and orbits. Even when he closed his eyes, he could see each lunar arc. He made a few tentative swings with his blade. The moonstone felt solid in his hand but remained ethereal, as if it wasn't there. It was a magical remnant of the first convergence when the moon and its reflection in the spirit realm briefly touched across the celestial veil, and the moonstone cast off by the union rained down on the world like tears. Okay, following the orbits, the two moons were forced to part. Bracing his own orbit, Aphelios continued to train. His blade was now his breath, drawing faster and faster. His slashes followed arcs he had practiced for years until even he bled, training to the verge of self-destruction. Following his weapon, he twisted through the air. He slashed, parried, each attack flowing into the next. He closed his eyes so he would not need to see, would not remember everything he sacrificed to wield this weapon, and we obviously know what he sacrificed to do that. Aphelios, you see my face, my lips quiver through my voice, though my voice is firm. Aphelios, reflected in my eyes, you see. Aphelios stumbled as his moonstone blade flashed red, and an image of an outlander passed before him. A vision? A memory? How many times had he killed to not know for sure? The blade slipped from his hand, and Aphelios soon followed, colliding against the floor with no weapon to lead him, losing grasp of his discipline. It had all come back. Everything he pushed down, everything cut of his blade into his enemies, cut even deeper into himself. Alun, his sister. She reached across the veil. She'd shown him, but she'd been torn away. Aphelios pushed troubled words he would never say back into his throat. His fingers tightened into a fist, only for a moment, ready to strike against the orbits and destinies carved into stone, but handshaking, he let go. As Aphelios stood and swept back his hair, he noticed the moon had risen, its light shining into a shire he kept deeper in the shrine, calling to him as it did whenever he was needed. It was time. His faith would be rewarded. The Lunari's power was growing, phasing across the celestial veil. I wonder what the connection he has with Diana then. A magic of spirit of the secrets within for all of his training. Aphelios could not channel the moon's power himself, but he would not need to. He carefully prepared nocturne flowers that he cultivated in the shrine's pool, pressing their essence into an caustic elixir, the liquid glowing faintly within the mortar's bowl, which is obviously what we saw before, mentioned in the bio as well. He set aside his training blade and raised the bowl to the moon's light. Then without hesitation he pressed the flower's poison to his lips. The agony is indescribable. The pain wraps around your throat. You cannot say anything at all. Everything burns. You convulse in misery. You retch and cough as the poison flows through you, opening you to the moon's power, to me. Okay, Aphelios, I whisper from my fortress, and my spirit brushes against yours. You sense my presence across the veil. You raise your hand, knowing that I am too far, that it is the pain you must hold on to. You close your hand around it, it becomes your weapon. I send it to you. Gravitum. Aphelios, I whisper as I feel you cling to the poison that burns you away, knowing why you made this choice, what I ask you to sacrifice. Okay, with a final long retching gasp, Aphelios emerged from the cave temple into the night. His expression hardened as he fought back the wrenching agony, embracing it and leaving everything else behind him. Mount Targon loomed above and below the temple, stretching in both directions. The howling wind whipped up frozen wisps that shimmered as they faded, dancing with Aphelios' scarf and buffeting his cloak. The light of the moon shone higher still. It would guide him. It was her light, shining through the moons, she giving him what he needed. So Gravitum, I believe, is his weapon. Gravitum was more than a moonstone blade. In training, he had slashed, stabbed, twirled. To use this weapon, he would do the same, but his reach would be much greater. A simple thrust would unleash its power, his skill and her magic converging. Firing the cannon's black orbs towards the floating rock that was suspended by the Targon's heavenly magic, Gravitum's power slowly drew the island down. With a single leap, Aphelios began running atop the island, his boots casting small drifts of snow into the abyss. Each orb he fired drew another rose, rock close, the floating monoliths colliding behind him as he leapt from one to the other, swiftly scaling a mountain that would take most people days to climb, if they attempted to climb at all. Okay, so the boy's got some powers. One of the Solari and those who sought power held vigil here. He passed their settlements below, each quiet and ignorant of the night. For years he had wondered how Solari zealots could deny his faith's existence, walking their paths to follow the sun, fearing darkness that only Lunari dared face. But his destiny was clear. The zealots would be revealed by the moonlight. Aphelios leapt to the final island of stone and paused above a snowy clearing where a party of Solari had gathered, their weapons blazing, burning ones. The Lunari called them. By night they scorched their heretics of the moon. By day their priests denied there was anything but the sun. Beneath that hoods their faces were hidden by flames of impersonal as their judgment. They had surrounded a barbarian cloaked in crimson and steel, the outlander he'd seen in the vision. The moonlight stopped in the clearing. It stopped at the barbarian's feet. So Aphelios, what are you going to do? Aphelios, I say again, I whisper it to your soul and gather my magic, knowing that the only words you want to hear, I am with you. So, Aphelios dived off the rock island and plummeted into battle, the burning one's weapons blazing all the brighter as Gravitum's darkness spread around them. Crying out in alarm, the Solari turned to fight, but found themselves bound to the ground by a black orb. Aphelios dropped the cannon and a new weapon appeared. A new weapon appeared in his hand. Severum, I whisper. Landing from his descent without looking away from his enemies' burning faces, Aphelios slashed behind him with Severum. The crescent pistols beamed, tearing through the island of stone. Terrified, the burning ones could only watch as massive slabs slammed down among them, cut loose by the energy of the wavering moon. The survivors quickly spread across the clearing, lashing at Aphelios with their molten spears. Weaving between the blows, Aphelios continued to slash with Severum and reached out with his free hand to grasp one more weapon as it passed through the veil, knowing it would be there. Crescendum. I say to the night, this guy's about to clean up. With a soaring arc, Crescendum cut through the throats of the remaining Solari in the clearing, Aphelios catching the moonstone blade as it twisted around and returned to his hand. In seconds, it was over. Sounds like it. The barbarian stands before you. He looks up grateful. Besides him, what the burning one sought, as whatever that is, curved like the moon. A scimitar. He opens his mouth to thank you, but he sees your expression twisted. Though you try to hide it, you fight the fear, punching your shoulder where the burning one's spears cut through your cloak. Trying to remember the pain, reaching for it. You don't want to kill him, but you must. Your face is too numb for you to feel the tears, instead you feel mine. Aphelios, I say one last time, forcing my voice through the veil. There is a dizzying rush as our orbs bring us together. Through your eyes, I see what moonlight reveals around the scimitar. Why it was abandoned. She's running. We must find her. Okay. The crimson-clad barbarian lay in the snow among the Solari. With a gasp, Aphelios fell to his knees. He glanced up at the moon, listening to a whisper only he could hear. His expression dulled again. Without a word, he picked up the scimitar and walked into the night. Okay, interesting. And I like this. I like that basically it says that he is the weapon. So every other part of him is lost. He cannot speak. All he feels is pain. And as a result of that, the only thing he is the weapon for him, his sister, and the rest of the Lunari. I think it is in it as well. Cool. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through his spotlight. This is going to be fun. Let's go. Before I move on to the spotlight, let me do the special interactions. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do the special interactions from Just Another Nobody. Let's go.
It always starts with pain. We can only do this together, Aphelios.
Yep.
Order fights for light. Chaos fights for darkness. In the moon, we have found both. A way to survive. The greatest power is the power greater than ourselves. The half moon, perfectly balanced, will guide your aim. To become a vessel for the heavens, one only needs faith. Believe, Aphelios. Carry the faith with you. As light reveals our path, so will darkness.
As light reveals our path, so will darkness.
I knew this would not be easy. The way forward, written in scars.
Ooh.
You make
Ooh. Instead of written in stars, like, they're saying it's written in the stars. It's written in scars.
yourself a weapon, so you do not have to feel.
Yep.
But you are not a weapon. You are my brother.
Ooh, deep.
You
Deep.
walk the path of darkness, but you do not walk it alone, brother. Even when the moon is new, it is there. A whisper to the shadows of your soul. I am with you. With every step, 2 steps. With every breath, 2 breaths.
That's tight as well. First of all, the I am with you. Like, that line is so simple, but I love it. And also, with every step, 2 steps. With every breath, 2 breaths. Yeah.
Steps.
Cool.
With every breath, 2 breaths. The pain makes you numb, but I can still feel, brother. I know the truth that pain hides. Beneath the mask of silence, I know your true face, brother. When your steps falter, follow my voice. I am never further than a whisper echoing in silence. Even when I close my eyes, I'll never look away. Even from across the celestial veil, I will be with you, brother. I am your sister. I am listening. Be careful, Fel. You've made every movement 1,000 times. Until you bleed. Until you do not have to think. Aphelios, I hear you. I know what you sacrifice.
Do you know what's mad as well? So, he's not deaf, but he's mute, so he can't speak. But the only one he can hear and act upon is her. I don't know. What?
Until you do not have to think. Aphelios, I hear you. I know what you sacrifice. Your fight echoes even here. Without pain, we would not need faith. The moon would not need us. We would not need each other, Aphelios. You are not alone. Remember our promise. I am with you, shining above. The fortress is quiet. If only you could be here, Fel. You would make this stone seem loud. Through your eyes, I see such wonders. Again and again, I see you reach for me. How can I help you when I put your life at risk?
Oi.
You cannot feel the tear running down your cheek. I cannot wipe it away. You walk through violence, born of shadow, born of light. All we ask is for a witness to our sorrow. What we want, what we need, what we must do. I envy the ignorant. We bleed when we cannot cry. Our path is set between the last breaths.
That's a bar actually. We bleed when we cannot cry. We bleed when we cannot cry. So we have to do something. We can't be the victim. We cannot cry. We have to do something. And the result of that might mean injury or death. But when we cannot cry, we have to take action, basically. That's the way I read it.
Taken by our enemies. Our destiny is hidden in the night, condemned to darkness, where our power grows. You will not suffer in silence. Remember what you have learned, brother. Darkness is not heresy. It lies within us all. By my word, you walk into the night. Do not look back, Aphelios. You are the weapon the Lunari need. From our fortress, I will guide you. I promise. Your life upon the altar, brother. I will not betray it. I beseech the moon to protect you. I send you light. Reach out, Aphelios. I will not let you die. An omen in your grasp, in your hand, from my heart. This will be your voice. I will extend your reach, brother. Out of darkness, the moon is born anew. The Solari call us heretics, but when darkness comes, brother, they will need our light. By light, the moon speaks. Find your orbit, brother. Walk where I cannot. Enlighten the many. We are meant to hate each other, but we will show them all, wicked and divine, that we are stronger together.
Okay.
We have no enemies, Aphelios. Only those fated to meet us in the night. Will they still call you fiend when you die, looking in your eyes? Or will they see the savior I see, Aphelios? You will make death more than death, brother. You will make it holy.
Making death holy.
Are the moon's eclipse, born of night, death arcing from your hand. Every movement a ceremony, for every phase a weapon, with every slash resurrection.
Okay.
It is as the moon revealed, Aphelios, as beautiful, as terrifying. If pain is what awaits us in the darkness, brother, we must run to it, unafraid.
Wow. Okay.
We cannot let fear trap us in twilight. The moon shines brightest in darkness.
We cannot let fear trap us in the twilight. The moon shines brightest in the darkness.
Faith, brother. So many weapons, Aphelios. The deadliest is your faith. This is what the moon tells me. Our faith will be tested. The fortress looms around me. It is everything. It is the only thing. I see further through the celestial veil. What we call truth is shadow. Only one of us is safe. We must find each other before every first light. Our thoughts touch, impossibly close. Which of us am I? The brighter my light, the stronger your shadow.
It's again another bar. Yeah, the brighter my light, the stronger your shadow.
Each of us, an offering.
Yeah.
We're in this together, Aphelios. Darkness and light. I am with you. I am with you.
That's probably the best line, where she says, "I am with you." So simple, but yeah.
The heavens turn toward darkness. Now is our time. You have bled, so they will. We hide no longer. Their steps will falter in darkness. They will not escape what is coming. Darkness will weigh upon them until night is everything. It always starts with pain. It ends in silence. The full moon reveals blood upon still lips. They are motes of dust, shimmering in moonlight. A prayer for their souls, torn from the night. The dawn will know the night's silence. To make a life of death, you do what you have to, brother. When you shine, the moon can worship. You did well, Aphelios.
Yeah. Okay. I was going to do the skin spotlight special interactions, but I'm so glad I've done this one. From Just Another Nobody. Amazing. Love it. Love the background music. Love the animation. Obviously love the special interactions, or should I say the voice lines as well. Wow. My favourite ones would have to be one of my favourite ones is the simple one, I am with you. Obviously that means so much, such a simple sentence, but the connection obviously between brother and sister, and even though she's so far away, her reminding him that she's still with him gives him the faith he needs to fight. That's obviously kind of nice to hear. Also, there was one where she said something along the lines of, "How can I protect the one I put in danger?" Let me find it.
Aphelios, your father would not need faith, even here. The moon would not need us. You are not alone. Above, you could be here, Fel. You would quiet, shining above.
So this next one is actually one of my favourites.
The fortress is quiet. If only you could be here, Fel. You would make this stone seem loud.
Because it seems like a really emotional and honest interaction, do you know what I mean, between the two of them. So I like that one. And also knowing that, like she said, if you could only be here, Fel, knowing that it's impossible. You know, he will probably never be able to see her again, never be able to get there, and she, by the sounds of it, will probably never be able to leave this fortress as well. So that's the one. And then, let me find it.
I see you reach.
This next one.
For me. How can I help you when I put your life at risk?
I like that. I really do like that one. There's so many good ones though. There's so many good ones in this, but they will be some of my favourite ones from the voice lines from Aphelios. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to finish off with his spotlight. Let's go.
A silent, dedicated Lunari warrior, Aphelios consumes a poison to channel the voice of his sister, Elune. She guides him from her sanctuary, sending him a powerful array of moonstone weapons to destroy the enemies of their faith. A high strategy.
I mean, that just in itself, that short sample of his bio in itself is just so interesting. That's so unique.
Marksman with access to a massive arsenal.
Okay.
Aphelios takes the game you know and shoots it over the moon.
A prayer for
Damn right.
souls torn through night.
Patience is key to master the weapon of the faithful.
Okay.
Welcome to the Aphelios Champion Spotlight.
Let's go. Abilities.
Aphelios has access to 5 different weapons, each with a different passive and active ability. There's
5 different weapons, each with a different passive and active ability.
Calibrum, the sniper rifle.
Wow.
Severum, the scythe pistol.
Okay.
Gravitum, the gravity cannon. Infernum, the flamethrower. And Crescendum, the chakram. 2 weapons are equipped at any given time, a main hand and offhand. Each weapon has limited ammo consumed via basic attacks and active abilities. When one runs out of ammo, the next gun in his arsenal replaces it, sending the exhausted weapon to the back of the line.
Okay.
Aphelios has a uniquely designed HUD, which displays his currently equipped weapons, how much ammo they have, and their corresponding active abilities. Use W to switch between your main hand and offhand weapons.
Okay.
The HUD also shows you a glimpse of the next weapon Elune will send once a weapon runs out of ammo. Consider your current arsenal and ammo before you begin a fight, so you can use the best combos for any situation. Let's take a closer look at each moonstone weapon. Calibrum, the sniper rifle, is best for long-range poke and harass. Who would have thought? Its active ability is a skill shot that marks its target. Once marked, the enemy is revealed, and Aphelios can follow up with his offhand weapon from any distance. If there are multiple marked enemies in an area, Aphelios can target one to deal bonus damage, consuming all nearby marks. Whether in the main hand or offhand, any damage-dealing ability will apply the mark as well. Severum, the scythe pistol, restores health with each attack. This effect can overheal, granting Aphelios a small shield.
Okay.
Severum's active ability boosts movement speed and rapidly fires both his main and offhand weapons at any nearby enemies. Remember, this also applies the passive from his offhand weapon. Oh, hi, Mark. Gravitum, the gravity cannon, applies a decaying slow on each hit.
Okay.
Gravitum's active ability damages and roots all enemies affected by the slow. This ability doesn't use his offhand weapon. Infernum, the flamethrower, blasts enemies with a damaging area of effect. Each shot deals bonus damage and explodes in a cone.
Okay.
If your attack crits, the area of the flame widens.
Oh.
Infernum's active ability spouts a wave of flame, which triggers the offhand gun to basic attack all affected foes. Crescendum, the chakram, is a close-range weapon that behaves like a boomerang. You can't attack again until the chakram swings back around, so the closer you stand, the quicker you attack.
Ah. Okay.
Critical strikes make the chakram return even faster, so the correct build and positioning can provide absurd DPS. While Crescendum is in your offhand, landing any ability other than with Gravitum will store mini chakrams. They deal bonus damage when auto-attacking with Crescendum. Crescendum's active ability creates a turret trap that activates to shoot the nearest target with your offhand weapon, applying its passive effect. This turret will also benefit from any attack speed and crit that Aphelios has built. Looks like Leona's feeling the gravity of this situation. Aphelios' ultimate, Moonlight Vigil, fires a missile that explodes on contact. He then applies an enhanced
Yeah, I've seen that before.
passive from his main hand weapon.
Okay.
Muse about the power of a supermassive black hole from the gravity cannon, or a surprise flamethrower with tons of damage. Think wisely about how your weapon can change the flow of the fight. You've always got two options, maybe more if you can empty your clip in time.
Oh, there you go.
Different weapon combos each have their strengths, allowing for different playstyles. Aphelios always starts with a sniper rifle and scythe pistol, which grants him solid poke and sustain during the waning phase.
Okay.
By mid-game, using the flamethrower on main hand and the gravity cannon on offhand can help you set up ganks by spraying foes with fire and rooting them in place. Now let's take a look at a Baron fight and how Aphelios would approach it differently based on his active arsenal. Say you hit the Baron pit with the scythe pistol in the main hand and chakram in the offhand. The pistol's active ability provides Aphelios with extra mobility to stay alive and kite. The chakram in the offhand builds mini chakrams so you can swap weapons and deal heavy damage afterward. But what if you came to the fight with a different set of weapons? Equip the gravity cannon.
This is kind of confusing though. So the guy's got 5 weapons, each with different active, different passive, all situational. He's switched between 2, depending on which 2 he has in his main and secondary. Determines the situation.
In the main hand with the offhand flamethrower.
Okay.
And Aphelios can start the fight on his own terms. His ult applies the gravity cannon's passive slow to the enemy team, using his active ability to root them, allowing him to swap to the flamethrower and incinerate them. Or take it one more time with the sniper rifle
Made Varus look obsolete there, didn't it?
on the main hand and the gravity cannon in the offhand. This setup lets Aphelios ult into the enemy team, marking them all. Aphelios can then use the sniper's active ability to poke and mark the enemy team as they run. With the offhand gravity cannon, he can apply the passive slow, then swap in and root them with its active.
Mad.
With so many styles of combat, Aphelios rewards players with high game knowledge and strategic patience.
You damn straight.
Learn the best combos and when to use them so you can showcase your galaxy brain. Patience. Learn the best combos
The guy flashed Morgana's binding.
and when to use them so you can showcase your galaxy and
One more
strategic
time.
patience.
It puts down a turret. Ultimate comes in. But boy, he's a level. What? He's a level 11 against a level 13 Ezreal and a level 30 Morgana.
Learn the best
Oh, he gets him there though. Okay, so Ezreal gets him there, doesn't he? But then he flashes.
combos and when to
binding.
use them so you can showcase your galaxy brain.
OP.
Enlighten the many.
Don't be phased by the sky-high skill ceiling. This lunatic is a challenge to learn, but fulfilling to master. For more illumination on Aphelios and his
This guy.
weapons, check out the links below.
Lightbringer. Nice. That was nice. Nightbringer skin. I like that. Okay. Interesting. Very, very interesting. So I think I'll leave it here today, guys. All things regarding Aphelios. I will be making a video about my first time playing Aphelios, which I will do shortly as well. That's going to be very interesting. Hopefully I've got a bit of a better understanding of how to play him based on this spotlight. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed my thoughts and reactions and everything regarding Aphelios. And if you did, feel free to let me know. Feel free to like, comment, and maybe also subscribe for more content like this. And yeah, for now, the champion theme from Aphelios is #1. That was absolutely incredible. One of the best themes. No, in fact, the best theme I've heard so far. So anyways, yeah, I will see you guys in the next one.